Okay, good afternoon everyone. How you all doing? Oh wait, I got a wrong slide up. It should be this one. There we go. Hope you're all well. You can see me all right, hear me okay. Put it into the chat, let me know. Owen was here nice and early. Although you missed a monster trade on US oil, it's okay. It will come back again. It will come back again. Hey Brian, how you doing? Just want to make sure everything is streaming all good. All right, thanks for that, Brian. Thanks for that, Erwin. We'll give it a minute before we get started. In the meantime, if you are watching and you are new to the session, do drop a message, say hi. Let us know where you're joining us from, and if you haven't already, the link for the Discord channel is there. Do make sure you join us on Discord as well. That's where you can take our discussions beyond this 1 hour session through the day. A lot of people there sharing very good trade ideas, so you don't have to trade alone. You can trade together in a community of other like-minded traders. Hey Jimmy, how you doing? Hey Spiros, good to see you again. And if you can, all I ask for these live sessions or these live market analysis is for you to help me out to click that like and subscribe button as and whenever you can through the session. If you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat and let me know. Diana asked a question. I remembered I missed out on one yesterday about Bitcoin, so we'll get to that. Scaling right up there. Don't think I have that much to say about it, but we'll get to that today. Hey Christina, good morning. Good to see you. Hey Ju Marinas. Hey Pips Apprentice. I am back, but not for very long. I am jetting out again next week, but I might have a bit more time. I think my schedule next week is not going to be too crazy. I think I might have a bit more time, not for live sessions, but for analysis uploads. All right, so if you haven't already, do make sure you subscribe to the channel. It will be uploaded there. Hey Diana, how are you doing? How did you go on the Swiss yen? I caught. Thanks to, and this is why you need to join the Discord channel, because thanks to Diana reminding me about the Swiss yen this morning. Early this morning I came in. She reminded me last night about it. It was playing in my mind. This morning I came in, I said I have to check it out, and caught, I think at 8 a.m. I caught a good 50 or 60 pips to the downside on the Swiss yen. All right, so you should be on the Discord channel. Hey Jamil, how are you doing? All right, let's keep going. A quick disclaimer: any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. So please remember that the contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product. This is not a signal channel, and your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Again, a quick reminder, you all saw it at the start of the video or the stream. I do not run any Telegram channels. I do not run any Telegram channels. So if you see any invite or you get pulled into any Telegram channels with my name or my face on it, please report it. Please exit from the group. It's not me. I don't know who it is. I haven't found a way to stop that from happening. So all you can do right now, or what I would suggest you do right now, is to report the channel and to get out of that Telegram group or any Telegram group with my name or my face on it. Okay? Hey Linley, how are you doing? So now, oops, with that said, get rid of that. I'll tell you what I just did, and I'm regretting it a little bit. I should have held on to it, but I don't like having a trade running because I can kind of get a little bit distracted. But I had the yen from last night. I had one trade there. I wish I had that take profit down there, but I closed out at I think about 1 a.m. right there. As it popped lower, time to go to bed, close out my trade. This morning it pushed lower. As it broke that support, I got into this trade. I'll show you the trade I got in. Right there. 5-0. I had that. I had a 30 pip stop loss. I'm actually looking for it to come down to this point, but I closed out right before this session at 30 pips. So 1:1. I wish I'm holding on to it. It is pushing lower, but I don't want to have a trade running while I'm doing this session. Okay, so that's my US yen trade from today as well. Was it? Yeah, right about there. Catching up on some of the chat. Diana said, as I said yesterday, listen to some analytics predicting Bitcoin will go up to 100. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Diana entered fair value on 15-minute 169.35. I think that's on the Swiss yen. 169.35. 169. Oh, that's a nice one. 935 about there. So as it broke lower, I only got in this morning, so I got out quite quickly. It is still pushing lower. I did catch, so I caught that trade there, 60 pips to the downside on the Swiss yen. Jamil said, finally yesterday I got very good. It's not just yesterday, Jamil, you get very good profits all the time, especially with the pound dollar pushing up. I caught the pound dollar together with you. I think together with you. I might have been a little bit later after the stream. So we caught the pound to the upside as well. Sent in my request to the broker. Fantastic. Very nice, Jamil. Very nice. So why? Okay, before I get into what we usually do, why is the yen pushing to the downside? It's really because of this two headlines here. The main one coming from the BOJ, Governor Ueda, saying that rate hikes dependent on future situation if negative rates is removed. Again, whenever they talk about removing negative rates, that has that similar impact. We saw that yesterday already, right? Just before our session, they came out, talked about maybe it's time to remove negative rates. We saw the yen push to the downside. Again, this was 29 minutes ago, said rate hikes dependent if negative rates are removed. Again, pushing yen to the downside. Prospects of sustainably achieving 2% price target gradually heightening, again adding to that anticipation that it could remove the negative rates regime, right? And that's why we're seeing the yen push down. As I'm watching this push down, I'm regretting more and more closing that trade 30 to almost 80 to the downside towards this point down here, right? So that is my cost. That's my cost of trade of a live stream, or well, not the live stream, but of wanting to close out trades before the live stream. So remember, you can help me out. Do click that like and subscribe. You can also share this live stream with anyone else, just to get them onto the session as well, okay? So it does come, although it's a free live stream, it does come with a cost of lost potential profits. What we have since the last time we spoke, nothing much there. A bit surprising on the ADP non-farm employment change. It was 107, got revised slightly upwards to 111K, expected 149, got released at 140. Right, so a little bit of a bad news there at 9:15 p.m. GMT plus 8, where we saw the US ADP non-farm employment change released at 140. Not a terrible number, not a terrible number at all. Just slightly lower than forecasted, but because of that, it was one of the stimulus leading to that. We saw at 9 that push, right? We saw the dollar push down, breaking below 103.40, and then so it did not bounce. We can take that away. Right, breaking below 103.40, we were thinking that it was going to bounce. It did not. It broke lower and through, possibly heading down towards that 103 round number support level. Okay, so this first push to the downside was because of that news. Not a terrible news, but that news where ADP non-farm was at 140, anticipated or forecasted was 149. Then, following on from that, we had the Canadians, the Bank of Canada, with their interest rate decision holding at 5% in the rate statement. No, not that one, sorry. Go back. Okay. In a rate statement, this says that economic growth remains weak, below potential, labor market shifting toward a better balance, more evidence that wage growth moderating, bank needs to see further and sustained easing in core inflation, right? So that's the key there, and that's why they've held rates at 5%. And because, so still too early to consider lowering rates, and not talking about rate cuts yet, needs to see more further and sustained easing. And because of that, we saw at that point there, 10 there, we saw the CAD push to the downside, not so much because of what was said partly because of what was said from the BOC, but also because of that weakness on the dollar index. Okay, so we saw that push to the downside again, did not push up to turn down. It would have been perfect, since it was going to go down anyway, would have been perfect if it came up, test and reject. So that did not happen. We'll take that one away. Okay, so that was the Bank of Canada interest rate decision. I just saw Diana's comment. I'll get to that shortly. And then we had Fed Chair Powell testifying. Very interesting on what he said is that progress against inflation is not assured, right? Taking a very cautious stance there from Chair Powell, and also, where was it? No, not that one, sorry. I'm clicking on too many links. Yeah, that one. Incoming data. So remember we said they will likely revert, or he will likely revert back towards being data dependent, needs to see how inflation gets to a sustainable level, needs to see employment numbers cool off maybe a little bit. So it comes down to incoming data will determine when rate cuts begin. And also, there we go. Strength of the economy and labor market means we can approach that carefully and thoughtfully. So no big rush from the Fed Reserve to cut rates. But it does seem to be jawboning it a little bit to the downside, jawboning the dollar index to push it down after what he said. Okay, so now Currently, the dollar index is at 103, bouncing off 103.20 at 103.23, 103.24. I do think that we might see that push down a little bit more towards that 103 level. Then it's going to get even more interesting. Then we have today the ECB. Well, nothing much earlier today. Today at 9:15 p.m. GMT plus 8, we will have the ECB with their monetary policy decision. Interest rates most likely going to stay at 4.5% with no change. Monetary policy statement is likely to indicate the same thing as we expect, where they're going to be data dependent. It's possibly a little bit too early to start cutting rates. They're going to be approaching this with a bit of a cautious stance. Then the press conference at 9:45 p.m. GMT plus 8 is where I think the volatility is going to come back into play, especially on the euro dollar. We might see some weakness coming back into play on the euro. It is approaching an interesting level, right, at this point here. So we were looking at it so you can see there, right, it's approaching this point. So this resistance, and we got 38.2 there, that's broken. 50 is right there. So we're looking at this as maybe I might see this push back down. Okay, so we're looking at both good potential on the euro, right? Could bounce back up, but I would be more interested to see it test lower or reverse back down again. We will look into this a little bit more in detail shortly. And then Chair Powell testifying again at 11 p.m. GMT plus 8. I think he's fired his fireworks from yesterday already. I don't think he's going to go too crazy today. I think that the ECB press conference, the volatility from the ECB press conference is likely to have a little bit more impact today rather than what Chair Powell might say, unless he comes out and says something shocking like no rate cuts until June, right? For sure. So I think that the main focus for today will be on the ECB interest rate decision and ECB press conference. Unfortunately, I won't not be trading this event. I'm engaged on something else. So hey, if you guys come across any good setups, do ping it into the Discord channel and let me know. I'm not watching it, but I would love to know what's a possible good setup when I get back to it. So help me out, put it in, okay? And Diana said, wow, you surprised me hearing from experienced trader regretting closing trades earlier. Hey, I'm exactly like you guys. Just that probably I just traded a little bit more, had more screen time than you all. So, you know, it's part and parcel of trading. Closing too early, closing too late. There's no perfect. Remember, there's no perfect in trading. It's a probability game. So we try and do the best that we can with what we have. It's never going to be a perfect setup on take profits and when to close or when to get out. Okay, it's all on hindsight, right? If the yen bounces from here, or if it bounces from here back up, I'll be like, oh, look at that. I was so lucky I closed out. But I don't like talking about hindsight. I don't like talking about the past. I like telling you all where I got in, where I got out, why I got out. And the reasons why you get out of a trade can be on many different levels. It could be because of a technical reason, right? Being outside of the Bollinger Band could close that out. It could be closing out a trade because of a fundamental reason, a news release, or it could be closing out a trade because I want to get into another trade and I don't want to over leverage on my account. And finally, it could just be closing a trade because I'm not going to be watching it. I'm not going to be watching the trade. I want to be focused with you guys. I want to be sharing with you my thoughts and ideas. So I close out the trade just so that I don't have to think about it anymore. Right? So there's no right or wrong. There's no really right or wrong time to close out a trade, so long as there is a reason. And it shouldn't be, or as little as it is, it shouldn't be about, oh, I'm scared, I'm fearful. Okay? A good reason to close out a trade. And spending time with you guys is the perfect reason. Now, we talked about all that. Tomorrow we do have the FOMC to be released, the NFP to be released. I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. Now looking at the charts, and before we do that, a quick hello to Angel K's. Good morning, how are you doing? And Kunal Patel, good to see you. Now looking at the charts on the dollar index, we have, well, we don't need all this anymore because that's all done. Let's take those away. All right, we can have it back later. This is 61 is done. Can take that away. We've got our nice key support here. I'm happy with that. And beyond that, I would put in a bit of a dotted line right there because of this point. So why I've got a dotted line here is because of this point here. And also that. I don't know why there's a gap here, but that and that, right? So because of all these points, I'll put in that dotted line there. But I have my key support here at a round number of 103. Okay. Now looking at this, dollar has been pushing to the downside with no big major news, apart from the ECB and Chair Powell testifying later. I don't think that's going to move it too much. Unemployment claims, I'm not too worried because that's a weekly number. Okay. So what I'm thinking here is looking at this. I'm just checking. So we've seen that come down, bounce up, test, reject, to push down. I'm seeing a bit of a retrace. I'm seeing a bit of a retrace on the dollar, but I'm looking for it to move lower towards that 103. Okay, so what we're looking at here is on the 7th. Dollar index could retrace to about that. Yeah, I'm seeing it retrace because it came down, tested this level, and bouncing back up a little bit. It could retrace as much as 103. Okay, no. So let's do this. Dollar index needs to stay below 103.40. So it could retrace up to that point, but it needs to stay below 103.40 to show downside to 103 support From there, I actually think we might see the dollar index bounce. Could bounce from support level. Okay, so what I'm thinking from this is that maybe if I can draw how the market would go, it'd go like that, down, and then back up again. That's what I'm describing there. Stay below 103.40, so it could retrace, stay below 103.40, could come down to test 103 before possibly bouncing back up towards, bounce off from that support level back up. Okay. Thanks for that, Spiros. No. Far from a guru. The market is the boss. Sin of pride. You have not missed gold. Gold is the lucky last one. So stay tuned. We're starting off with the dollar index, and that's what we have. With that in mind, then looking at the Kiwi, did not trigger, take that away. Remove all that. It's broken 23, it's approaching, so 23 is done, it's broken out that level. We were looking to sell it down, did not happen, push right back up. Broken 50, or looking at trying to break 50, possibly getting to 61.8. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at. Remember that we're looking at this maybe bouncing or consolidating or bouncing at this point before heading a bit lower. So if it does head lower, then we might see this test this resistance area. Thinking of this as a resistance area to test and reject back down. Okay, let me think again. I don't need this. I can have this up here. I don't need this area. My 61.8 is fine. Okay, so that's what I have. Right, it looks like it's gonna retrace a little bit before pushing back up. Checking this points. I don't think it retraced that much. Okay, so what I'm looking for here is a possible resumption of strength on the dollar index later on. So 16155, stop loss 20 pips, take profit. You could go all the way down to 80. I don't see how it should move 80 pips. But I think that that would be a good level with a possible hesitation at 6110. Okay, there we go. All right, so I would look to sell at 61. So Kiwi, what we're looking at is a test and reject of the resistance. Looking to sell at 6155, stop loss 20 pips. Take profit 80 pips to the downside. 6155, stop loss 20, take profit 80 with a hesitation at 6110. 0.6110. There we go. All right. Okay. There we go. What is my favorite pair? When I first started, I loved trading the Aussie dollar. Then it transited towards the US yen, and then the euro yen and pound yen. I loved all the yen pairs. And then I loved the pound dollar when they went through the whole, I forgot what was the name of that thing where they were voting for breaking away the Brexit. Well, before Brexit was Ireland or some other countries looking to break away from the UK, and then the Brexit, that was a fantastic time to trade the pound, and then back to the yen again. So I think yen still trumps everything. I still love the yen. Hope that answers your question there, Internet Money FX. Yes, we can look at US oil. I'm sure we have time. Now, anyone caught the Aussie? I did not catch. I was trading everything else, did not catch the Aussie, did not think it was going to, well, thought that everything else was going to move a lot faster, so I did not focus on the Aussie. But that was a good trade. That's coming close to its take profit. Pushed up, and you can see that worked out actually really nicely. It went up, broke above the interim resistance level on the next hour. So this would be a good setup, right? It broke up. The next hour you could get in 6, 5, 4, 0, 20 pip stop loss, 50 pip take profit. You could have gone up 1, 2, 3 hours and got out at 40 pips. That's what I would have done, because it would be outside of the Bollinger. So again, my reason to close out would have been that's outside the Bollinger Band. I want to close out the trade. I would have been very happy with 40 pips. If you didn't, you hold on to that over the next many hours and came very close to 50, and it's sitting there right now. Okay. Anyone got onto the Aussie dollar for potential 50 pip take profit to the upside? Let me know. Let me know. I would love to find out. And hey, I forgot. Hey, Goju, how are you doing? Good morning. Hey, Pike Kido, Buy Investors Futures, how are you doing? Hey, Jamil, thank you. Now, where am I? Okay, so Aussie is done. Anyone got onto the Aussie? Let me know. Now, with the way it's going, it's coming close to that previous high. Take that away for now. Okay, it's coming close to that previous high and that 38.2 level. It'll be interesting. We want to see what happens at this point. We want to see what happens to the Aussie at 6610. Right? If the Aussie gets to 6610 and it rejects, then you can look at it turning back down. There was a headline I saw. There you go. Aussie interest rates are expected to drop, but trying to outthink the market won't guarantee getting a good deal. Okay, so that's quite interesting. Rates are expected to drop, but don't overthink it. So what I'm looking at here on the Aussie, needs to see a reaction at 6610. Wait for that reaction. Okay, and because we're thinking that we could look to sell the Kiwi down, maybe it's worthwhile thinking whether the Aussie could push higher with 50% right there. Okay, so would it be worth doing that? Let's see, if it breaks 6624, 25, take profit 30. That's tight. That's very tight. And I don't see why it would move up 80 unless the dollar index drops massively. All right, so you could be looking at that, or you could be looking at a test and reject at 6600, stop loss 25, and then take profit right back down again. Whoa, that's a big one. I don't think it'll be that big. Yeah, it shouldn't be, it should be about there. About this point here, I want to catch this mid-level on the Aussie. So about 70 pips. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. So what I'm thinking here on the Aussie is that we want to wait and see reaction at 0.6610. First thing. Then with that we have the breakout. We look to buy at 0.66 what was it, 6625 20 to 80. Stop loss 20, take profit 80. Or we'll look for a rejection, then we'll look to sell at 0.6610, 0.66 25 to 70. Rejection 0.66, stop loss 25, take profit 70 to the downside. Nothing to do yet. Nothing to do yet on the Aussie. Yes, could you trade it up if you want to take that small move? I think that move up there is about 30 pips. Oops, what did I do? It's about 30 pips. Sorry. Could trade it up. I don't think it's worth the risk for me. I would like to see what happens at this point before I decide on the Aussie to break up or to reject and turn back down. Jamil says 6617 or 66 is a good liquidity, strong push, maybe break. 6617, it's about there. Yeah, I think if it breaks up, then we're going to see a good, so we're going to see wait and see what happens at this point. Okay. Now, what's happening on the yen? It is still pushing down. It is still pushing down. At this point, I am actually happy. As much as earlier I said that I regret closing it out, I'm actually happy because it hasn't dropped too much. It's only at 148.10, moving down. My take profit just then was at 147.70. Take that away. Did not bounce. Now it's going to push lower, right? It's going to push lower to 147.70. Looking at the dollar, not doing too much. Yen, because of the news, still pushing lower. Angel case, it's okay. I know how you feel. I was telling everyone about my US yen trade as well. It's fine. Look for the next setup. We're looking for a reaction here at 147.70. Could it get to 146? It'll be a very big trade. Sitting at that point. Break lower. We'll have another point there. Okay, wait. I want to clean up this a little bit first. I don't need that. Take that away. That's not my support. That's my resistance now. That's now a resistance area. That one's done. Okay. Now let's see, where is it at? Look, that's where the yen is sitting at. It's coming to rest. I think that's where it's coming to rest. 50 is well broken. So it's this point here. 61.8 with that previous swing low. It looks like the yen is going to gravitate towards this support. That would make sense. At this point, we're going to see, I think that, let me check the H4, quick check of the H4. I would like to see it push down. And maybe I could sell it down further again. Okay, so we're going to see a reaction here at 147.70. If it does break to the downside, 147.60, stop loss 30 pips, take profit I wouldn't put it to 150, right? It could get to 150, but I think that I don't see any big news that could drag it down to 150. I think at that point would be reasonable because of this and this levels here. So about 90 pips would be very good. And actually, if you think about it, why I say 90 pips would be very good and why we need to see a reaction or wait for a reaction here is because just today, just from today, the yen has already reversed down or continued down from 149.45 down to 148 right now. A good 140 pips might be overextended, right? 144, 145 pips might be a bit overextended. I'm just being a bit cautious here on how much further it can go down. Diana's just sharing that on the daily time frame, the liquidity area is at 147.60 with a swing low right there. Yeah. Right, on the daily time frame, liquidity area at 147.60. So with the liquidity area again, do we expect that because of that it's going to bounce, or do you think it's going to head lower? What I'm thinking is that it might come down to that and then go lower again. Okay, so on this, it did not bounce off. We were selling it down. We're looking for reaction at 147.70. If it breaks support, we'll look to sell at 147.60 with a stop loss of 30 and a take profit of 90. I hope I got my numbers right. Yep. Okay. There we go. We'll see. We'll see what happens on the US yen. And then on to the pound dollar. Pushed up. I had a quick trade on the pound dollar to the upside. I think it was late in the eve. I had got in early and then after that pushed down and then went back up again. Got out of the pound. Now at this point, you can see that being supported. Right, that one's done. Take that away. Drag it up. 38.2 is right there. This is where it bounced off. That all makes sense. Right, so if we see further, I'm getting more and more of a sense that it looks like that dollar weakness might be overextended already. Looking like it might bounce. All right, just the way price is moving. Although I do think that we might see a bit more upside. It's right in the middle there, so I'm not very tempted to do anything here on the pound dollar yet. Right, but I like how this is supported to push it up. I want to see it test that 1.2780 resistance area. And could it go higher? I think that any further upside might be limited at that point there. H4 time frame. You can see that this is a very high. The last time we broke above this point was last year in July, higher. So we're now at we're approaching December's high. This is December high. I agree, Jamil. Jamil just said anytime it will drop I'm thinking that as well. That's why I'm trying to find a place of where it could reverse. Nothing to do right here. I think that in the best scenario, we can see it test and reject, or it will sit there and then break lower to push down. I'll be very cautious to try and keep buying it up. Looks a little bit overextended. Consolidating, test and reject. It looks quite overall bearish. Here we go, 25 down to 60. Okay, so I'm looking for a test and reject, 25 to 60. So okay, pound dollar again, looking for it to climb slightly further to test that resistance level, to reject it. I'll look to sell down from 1.2760, 25 pip stop loss, 60 pip take profit to the downside. There we go. We're looking to sell 1.2760, stop loss 25, take profit 60. We're looking for a test and reject of resistance. Here we go. Okay. Then I'm a bit unsure about this. It feels like it could just sit there and pop lower as well. Feels like it could just sit here and just pop lower. So just watch out for the pound dollar. There is no big news on the pound either. And because of that, that's one reason why I'm thinking like, it looks like it could drop, but there's no big reason why it should. Euro dollar, I'll maintain that view, right? We have the ECB coming out tonight. Looking at this, it's tested that resistance, now a bit of a support, looking for it to test and break down. Whew, tired. 38, 50, that's fine. Test lower, yes. Trend line does not fit perfectly unless it breaks down this way. I'll maintain this view on the euro dollar. One more thing to check. Coming back down, break 23, break 38, down. Okay, so I'll maintain this view on the euro dollar. It needs to reject this or break through this support, 1.0870, 20 pip stop loss, 75 pip take profit to the downside on the euro dollar. There we have it. But please remember that for this one, we do have the ECB rates and press conference to be released. Okay, so if you want to get into it now, it might not be the best idea. Even if it pushes down a little bit more, don't rush into it. It is almost 4 p.m. here. In 5 hours, we have the fireworks to come. Possible, not saying that it will always be, but possible fireworks to come from the ECB. Okay, then onto the Swiss franc. Right, we said do nothing there yesterday. It could push up. It came down to the previous swing lows. Now looking like it could push back up. And again, this all adds up to the reason why I think we might see some recovery. We might see some recovery in strength on the dollar index. If we look to go long here, with that support holding, 8825, stop loss 20 pips, take profit way up there to 60. Don't see a big reason why it should do that. There we go. There we go. We don't need that. Okay, and beyond that, we have an interim level there. Okay, so I wouldn't, even if it does drop, even if it doesn't bounce back up and it drops, I wouldn't do anything in this area unless it breaks below this swing low here. Oops, breaks below this point here. Then maybe you can look to go further down, but that would be significant dollar weakness to push this down. Then, oh wait, so on the Swiss franc, 8825, 2260. We're looking to buy at 0.8825, stop loss 20, take profit 60 to the upside. Then onto the USCAD, again very similar, sitting right across, checking this level 61. Look at that. Look at, sorry, I get a bit excited when it reacts to a good level, but look at that, testing 61 and bouncing, and holding. Right, dollar index hasn't moved at all. Dollar index has not moved at all. So it's sitting right there. Look, we're a bit balanced on the Aussie and the Kiwi. Right, we're looking to sell. I've written a lot today, a bit odd. We're looking a bit balanced on the Aussie and Kiwi. We're looking for more downside on the yen. We're looking at some strength based on the pound and the euro. We're looking at some strength on the dollar, bit of a strength on the Swiss. Now I'm thinking if 61.8 does not hold, we could see a further downside on the loonie, on the USCAD. So 1.3490, let it clear that previous point. Stop loss can be tight at about 20 pips. Take profit, you can have it down to 40 towards that previous swing low. I feel that is a very conservative setup here. So we just have to wait for that. So 1.3490, 20 pips stop loss, 40 pips take profit to the downside for the US CAD. We're looking for that to sell 1.3490, stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside. Wait, Jamil just said if US Swiss franc is going to buy, pound is going to drop, and also gold, that would work perfectly. We are looking for pound to drop. That would work very nicely for our analysis. I like that one a bit more now. Looking at the US CAD, I like that a bit more. And that's just dropping. It's just going to remind me. Then we look at Swiss yen. That one's done. Take that away. Oops. Oh, not too bad. Today hasn't been too bad. Although I missed out on a big move on majority of the move on the US yen. Thankfully, Diana reminded me about the Swiss yen. Caught that, so it's kind of made up for it. At this point now, if the yen continues to drop, then we can possibly see this push lower. $1.16775. Stop loss no more than 25. Take profit 100 pips to the downside. I think that looks overextended, so just be very careful with that. But that would be the setup. I think that you can even go 167.70 with a 30 pip stop and a 90 pip take profit to the downside. Okay, US yen is still dropping. It's getting to my take profit, my what would have been take profit. With that, then we look at US oil for Irwin. All right, Jamil, take care now. Now, US oil had a big push to the upside, came right back down, sitting at this support, well, resistance turned support level. Right, the last time we spoke, it was if it breaks past this point, we'll see a push to the upside. Not a big thing that I trade, so I'm gonna see what are the big drivers. I think there was a natural gas as well to be released. Minus 96, minus 42. Might see this push back down. No. I think that what we're looking at here, it seems to have found that support. Might see, Irwin says, might see some downside move to about 78 before moving to the upside. Yeah, I'm actually thinking that we might not see too much downside. So 78 is right about there. It needs to stay above 78. It needs to stay above 78 to maintain that upside. I'm actually thinking that it might consolidate along this point before pushing back up. Right? So my first consideration is it needs to stay above 79. Could bounce from there. And if it doesn't, if it breaks down, then it definitely needs to stay above 78 to bounce from here back up. Okay? That would be my rather rudimentary view of US oil. Hope that helps you a little bit there, Irwin. Okay, fantastic, same analysis. Diana just said Swiss yen reaching fair value. If it holds, it might retrace. Looking for break of structure and look for fair value to go lower to level 166.80. There we go. It's coming down. Yep. It's a bit overextended. It's outside of Bollinger. There's 1 minute to the hour close. Might bounce back up a little bit before turning back down. So I agree entirely. It might do that. Back down, but I think that setup still holds. I agree. Cool. And then onto gold. Pushing up, so it did not retrace. Oops, it did not retrace like what we said, but it stayed above 2110 to climb to 2150. So it stayed above 2110, which is there, to climb to 2150. At this point now, undeniably, we have to be looking for further upside on gold, right? Trending, have to think that there might be further upside. That's broken. Test. Yep, take that away. We don't need that. Actually, we don't need that either. That's a good resistance now. Take that and consider that as a support. Now looking at this, again, as much as we have to think of further upside on gold, remember that December it tested and came right back down. Right now looking like it's sitting right there. any further upside, I think be careful. What I'm looking for is a possible retrace back down towards 21.26. Yeah, so I'm looking for that retrace back down to this area. Okay, so I don't see any setup yet. I'm thinking that we could see limited, or we could see it retrace down to 21, where was it? 21.26, 26, but we're also looking, but we're still considering bullish trend. Right, so I'm not looking to sell it down, I'm looking for it to retrace, then looking to buy it back up. And now I don't think I have that much to say on Bitcoin. It is currently at 66,578. It went up to a high of 69,000, sitting right there. Again, with cryptocurrencies, I think that the sentiment, the hype and the sentiment, the halving coming in April, the anticipation, we're going to see that push up further beyond beyond 69,000. Why is it a different color? That's fine. We don't have it any higher. Well, we have it almost at 69. I think that, what was the last point? The last point was right there. A similar point there. I think it broke the last point. Yeah. Further upside, I'm still anticipating further upside. Could get to, it's a guess. It's a guess. Could get to 70, a bit of a retrace after that, or 72, a bit of a retrace after that, and then retrace back down. No, I don't think it retrace back down. I think it's got a bit more upside before any retracement. So hype, momentum, pushing it to the upside, could get to 70, 72, maybe even more. But if you're not in it already, and if you're looking at a medium to longer term play, probably not worth getting into it now. Short term, I would say scalp it up. Okay. FOMO is real. FOMO is real. Yes, it is. When will we see a sustained dip? Probably after the halving. I agree. When the hype dies out a little bit, need to start using a broker that supports futures. I do have one, Erwin. I do have one that does futures. Message me on, I think they do. I don't trade futures, but I think they do. So message me on Discord. I'll have a chat with you about that. Haven't tried my funded futures yet. I haven't heard of it, not much less tried it, my funded futures. So that'd be interesting. Okay, so with that said, please remember, trade well, trade safe. It is okay to close out trades early for whatever reason, for a good reason you have, right? So that came down. So this is why I don't have my trades open, because it'll come down right to that almost take profit and maybe bounce, and then I'll be regretting that move. But yes, thank you, Goju. Please, everyone, trade well, trade safe. I hope you enjoyed the session. Went through a lot of different talking points. Hope you all make good green trades. I'm pretty much done for the day. On the pound from last night, on the Swiss yen from today, the US yen from today as well. Yeah, so if you haven't already, please help me out. Click that like and subscribe button on YouTube, TradingView, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, wherever you're watching on from. Do help me out. And I'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Take care now. Bye-bye.